an envelope out of place. It took a few moments for Winston to turn himself up the right way and untangle his tail. He dusted himself down and rubbed his nose. What just happened? He wondered. What was that thing that had knocked him over? He clambered back up the snow-covered pile of rubbish and looked around to find who or what was the culprit. It didn't take him long to find it, and his heart skipped a beat. It was an envelope. Winston couldn't believe his luck. Now, for most people, an ordinary envelope isn't something to get very excited about, but for Winston this was a real treat. Of all the things to find on a cold winter's night like tonight, an envelope, and a dryish one at that, was brilliant. He'd been able to rip a little hole in it and wriggle inside for the night. It would be like a nice papery sleeping bag that would keep him lovely and snug and out of the wind and snow. Winston sprang across the bins in several zingy leaps and picked it up. He was about to tear a tiny hole in the side of it when something stopped him. He wasn't sure what it was, but something made his nose twitch and his whiskers tingle. He found himself turning the envelope around so he could read the writing on the front. For a mouse, Winston was very good at reading. When your bed is usually made up from bits of newspaper, it's inevitable that you end up working out what all the black marks on the paper mean, just to entertain yourself. Besides, getting a library card can be quite tricky when you're a mouse. Winston ran his paw across the neat handwriting. It said, "To Father Christmas, Mince Pie House, just past the snowdrift, the North Pole. Urgent." He gasped. This wasn't any ordinary envelope. It was addressed to Father Christmas. That must mean that the letter inside was very important. But what on earth was it doing floating around and knocking little mice off their feet? Surely it should be sitting in a neat pile in Father Christmas's cosy workshop by now. It must have got mislaid when the postman was emptying the letterbox, he thought. And as much as he really wanted to snuggle inside the envelope and be warm, he knew he couldn't possibly do that. This letter needed to get to Father Christmas. "I'll take this to the letterbox and post it so that it can get to the North Pole in time for Christmas Eve," Winston said to himself. But even as the word squeaked from his mouth, he felt that something wasn't adding up. He counted the days in his paws to try and work out what day, or actually what night, it was. When that didn't work, because mice aren't particularly good at counting, he quickly rummaged through the rubbish next to him until he found a scrap of newspaper that he'd uncovered earlier. It was yesterday's edition. Winston knew that because he'd slept under that scrap the night before. He turned it up the right way and unfolded the soggy corner. "Oh," said Winston. That newspaper was dated the 23rd of December, which meant today was the 24th, and that meant that it was already Christmas Eve.